Well, good to have you back here on the South African Morning. The National Air Quality Officer has come out and rejected Eskom's application for pollution exemptions at two power stations, namely Medupi and Matimba. So what does that all actually mean? Well, let's find out from the power utility itself. Eskom Senior Manager Deidre Herbst joining me this morning. Deidre, good morning. Thanks for your time. So what does this mean? From my understanding, it means if you can't pollute above a certain level, essentially you're going to lose about 16,000 megawatts of generating power. Is that essentially it in a nutshell?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Yes, we've actually been engaging with authorities for quite a few years, trying to find a sustainable and balanced approach to meeting their minimum emission standards. I think the most challenging part is that they have applied new plant limits to existing plant, which means that we have to retrofit existing plant with very, very expensive pollution reduction technologies. Now, we can do that, and there's three pollutants that we manage, and we can do that on two of them, the particulate matter and NOx. But when it comes to sulfur dioxide, it requires a technology called flue gas desulfurization, and that technology is approximately 30 billion rand per power station. So what we have is our old power stations, which are closing down, are now required to have this expensive technology put on the end of pipe. And so we're proposing a more sustainable approach, which means that we'll continuously reduce emissions, limit the impact on health, but then we'll also protect the environment from other impacts like additional water use and additional waste, which will be produced. But the impact of the decision that's been made by the authorities is that there is 16,000 megawatts of capacity, which if we comply, we will need to switch off immediately with immediate effect. And that would result in stage 8 load shedding continuously. So we have appealed the decision, and we have asked for a mediation. So we hope to engage with the DMRE, the DPE, the Department of Environment, and find a balanced solution which improves and reduces the impact on health, but also addresses the financial burden that this will create and ensures that we can have a just energy transition. So we're also saying that we should be spending money on implementing renewable technologies rather than spending money on end-of-pipe solutions for stations which are very near the end of their life and will shut down in the next 10 to 15 years.
So it's going to cost you more money to keep these power stations going. At the same time, you won't be able to generate 16,000 megawatts of power that could put us into stage 8. And you're also, as Eskom, asking for a 20% increase as well. It's a difficult time to be involved with Eskom, isn't it?
Yes, so the proposal that we put forward to the authorities has a price tag of about 67 billion, so it's a phased and prioritized approach. But the full compliance that the authorities are requesting the Eskom is 300 billion rand, and that would have at least another 10% additional on the tariff. So we're talking about the 20%, but this 300 billion rand would result in an additional 10% on the tariff.
And when we go back to this rejection of the application, I know you're going to be seeking that legal counsel now, finding alternatives. What kind of deadlines, what sort of timeline are you working against here, Deidre?
So we've submitted an appeal to the authorities on the 15th of December. They go into a dead time now. The appeal actually suspends the decision. And in January, we will start engaging again with authorities, and we'll see if we get a response from the appeal office. But I think it'll be a few months of engaging, and we've asked an appeal for mediation, and we're hoping that it starts with the mediation with the different government departments that are required to help make this decision. It shouldn't necessarily be a decision that the Department of Environment Affairs makes on their own.
Last question to you, Deidre, just before I say goodbye. 300 million if you have to go all in to comply with everything. I imagine that kind of money could have been used to bring to an end, to a large extent, an issue like the power cuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it's 300 billion, not million.
Sorry, billion.
300 billion. And yes, I think we need to have a balanced approach in terms of where we spend the money, and maintaining and fixing plant also would have to compete with that kind of expenditure, especially if we've got a limited tariff that we need to work within.
It's going to be very interesting negotiations as we go into the new year. Eskom Senior Manager Deidre Herbst, thank you very much indeed for joining us. So essentially what we're getting is Eskom at Tombs having to now comply for the pollution aspect of it. It's going to cost a lot of money to become compliant. That money could have gone to trying to prevent more power cuts. If this doesn't happen, they have to turn off 2 of their power stations. Stage 8 is what could happen.
Stage 8.
Stage 8 is what Deidre said. If they have to cut the 16,000 megawatts of power, if they have to take down 2 of their big power plants. So rock in a hard place, and still no solution to the power issue.
All right, we'll see what happens, of course, and continue to track down developments around this story.